I'd written a children's book and dedicated it to my daughter, and written her in as one of the characters. Her character is the seahorse, which is quite cute. I just thought it would just be something that could show how much that my daughter did mean to me. So I was delighted to post it over, and then obviously horrified when it was returned, just ripped to pieces, and it wasn't cut, it was just ripped. The last time I saw Leanne, she was 7, and she was quite traumatised by the whole ordeal of having to go to court, and she might have to see a guy that she didn't want to see. And that sort of broke my heart a bit, because I'd hate to think that that's what I had done to my daughter. Lisa, she was a nurse. It was never a relationship. It was always very much flatmates, all the bills were separate. When I got the news, it was quite terrifying, because it was the wrong time in my life. I didn't really have much thought for Leanne in the first year. I then came back and asked could I see her, and then I started basically setting up regular visits, and that's when I could just feel the whole thing start. It was like an avalanche. It just started changing. The emotions changed, the physical connection changed, the familiarity changed, and you could just feel that you're falling in love with someone who you'd been trying to keep those feelings at bay for such a long time. And I finally copped on. Like, I've got to step up here. I'm the father, I'm the dad, and it took, a while for that to come through, but it did, and that was great. Leanne then started calling me Dad, which was quite a fantastic day, that she finally stopped calling me Lloyd and asked me could she actually call me Dad, and so that was 3 years of regular contact. So Lisa, more or less, just did a runner. She took Leanne out of school, she changed address, she left no forwarding address. So when I arrived on the doorstep and rang the bell, the house was empty. So that was devastating, because then all of a sudden I felt like, well, is this the day that I had coming to me for not being there when they needed me? No solicitor could take my case on because they didn't know where Leanne and Lisa were, so then I had to hire a private investigator. Finally found a solicitor that would take on my case. As it just became apparent, I didn't really have many rights. From the time that I had originally submitted my request for a court hearing, it had taken 4 years. And at this stage, half her life had gone that she hadn't seen me. And he said he's got no doubt that I love my daughter and that I had tried everything. And he said, but the problem is now is that she's 11, and we've asked her, does she want to see you? And she said no, because now she can make up her own mind. And in her mind, almost half of her life, she hasn't seen you. And I just, I said, well, I can understand that. I said, but obviously I'm heartbroken, because this is so serious. And I said, I haven't seen her now for 4 years. And at the stroke of a pen, you could allow that to happen, and we could maybe take an approach that it was very softly. And he said, again, we understand, we feel for you, and we understand that you've done nothing in this situation but try your hardest. But the cold reality is that we cannot force a young girl to see someone that she doesn't want to. And all we can say is that maybe keep writing letters, and in the years to come, that might change. The last time I saw her, she was 7, and we had an absolutely fantastic day. And I got photos. We went to the fun park. We ended up going to the river. We ended up in a river. We're up to our necks and having the time of our lives. And little did I realise that would be the last day that I'd see my daughter. So that was tough getting the hearing that day. That was tough. As the months and the years rolled by, you just felt drained, emotionally drained. Financially, it's a huge cost to go down this road. Without asking the question, I was just hoping that as she matures, that little thing of that guy that wanted to see me, and this Australian guy that's in my life, would just come around again, and that would just be absolutely fantastic. At some point, legislation has to be changed that the father can't be expected to be there, you know, financially and as an emotional, you know, structure when it suits the mother. There has to be some sort of visiting rights and access rights that are supported by law. Otherwise, you're just vulnerable. You're just exposed, and at a whim, your partner or your ex-partner can take, you know, the biggest thing that you have in your life away from you. I have a son who's just he's just over 1. Jack has just been a joy, a complete joy, since he was born. Not that he's made up for the years that I didn't have with Leanne, but it sort of gave me probably a bittersweet insight to the things that I missed out on, but I certainly won't be missing out on again. And I've had a few instances already with Jack's mum. She has just stopped me from having any access to him. You just feel so vulnerable that if, you know, you want to just scream and say, this is not fair, you know, I clothe him, I feed him. There's no difference of our situation and our love and our connection to this little guy, except everything is with you. All the power is with you. You feel totally vulnerable that just like that, it could be taken away again.